For this special course, we'll be following one textbook. And the textbook is Indian Knowledge System, Introduction to Indian Knowledge System, Concepts and Applications. Can you note down the name? Maybe you can get a copy for yourselves, or you can ask the library to get it, some copies for some of you, and you can share. For the whole of the course, we'll be following this textbook, and it is a good reference book to have in one's library for any further correspondence. Of course, you can always contact me as well, but this will be there with you forever. Let's start with the introduction. First, we'll look at the overview of IKS. As I have been saying to one of the students, Indian knowledge systems is all about understanding the knowledge framework that we have gathered for many thousands of years, since very long time. Some are available via the literary sources, but some are transmitted mostly via the oral traditions. In India, the very interesting thing is, whichever region you go, every region has a speciality, whether be it a food, be it dance, be it music, be it art. But nothing is in the literary form, right? You can't get a book saying in so and so region, this is the art, and the way to approach that art can't be written. It should be transmitted via a master to a student. So most of our wisdom branches in the past have been through oral traditions. After the writing has been formalized, people encoded that into the literary form. Unfortunately, the Western scholars during the British time who reviewed our literature, they dated them to very recent times. One, because they did not want to go beyond whatever their antiquity was. And the second thing, they did not like to accept that we have been a civilized nation for so long. And third, many political reasons would have been there. But now that we are an independent country and we are sending satellites to moon as well, we should be proud in presenting our own rich cultural heritage. So IKS is all about making you understand about your own country. It's like if I come to your home and if I ask you, what does your father do? You might answer something. And what does your grandmother or grandparents did? And what about your ancestors? And if you put a blank face, what do you feel like? I don't know about my own family. What is this? That feeling should not be there with you when you present about your own country. We are all patriots at one level or the other. We may not be the soldier standing on the border, but at every phase of our life, we are presented with the opportunity to defend our country in many ways, and it is our solemn duty to do that. Of course, doing that doesn't mean making our life very hard. You can enjoy, you can, be happy in every other domain of life, but should not forget your roots. That is what I mean. So not forgetting your roots is the main motto of this course. As much as I am interested and I have gathered my knowledge since my childhood days, I'll be presenting in this course as per the curriculum. But what I'll be touching is very surface. To go deep is up to you. Am I visible and audible to everyone? Once again, one final confirmation. Vaibhav or someone else? No.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir, audible, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. So what is the importance of the ancient knowledge that we have been speaking till now? First, of course, to understand the attitude and approach of the ancients. Here, ancients do not mean the early man. Ancients mean after certain civilization has started, since the gathering of knowledge has started, since that time onwards, what had been our attitude? Why do we do something? Now, you all can question about your own choices, right? Why are you in engineering? Or why are you in arts? Why are you at certain domain or certain place in your life? There would be some reasons in the past which led you to a particular moment at this point of time. Like that, we need to understand what had been the motto of the ancients who gathered this knowledge, who formalized it, who transmitted to those who seeked it, and through seeking and through transmission, what have they acquired? That is what we need to know. And once you know that, you will understand why it is very important to know about your own ancient knowledge. Once you have understood it, you of course you want to apply to the present context. Yes, yesterday, let's say it was a golden era, but what about today? Is the golden era continuing? If not, how can we make it golden again? These are the questions that needs to be addressed. And if now has been set right, we have a clear context of the past, and what is remaining is of course the future and what can be done to your own kith and kin, right? To your own generations to come later on. What are you handing down? That is what the environmentalists are speaking these days. If we continue to pollute the environment the way we are doing now, there's nothing we are going to hand down other than diseases, right? So we all should wake up. And now that point, for example, the environmentalists. In the past, the lifestyle was in much synchronization with nature. Whatever we had a cycle of food chain where every organism consumed each other's byproducts, and there was a no extra pollution or damage happened to the existing society. I think after industrial revolution and generation of lot of smoke and all, our own grave we have been digging. And soon, if we do not stop it by learning from the past, we will all be in a sinking ship. Now, escape the risk of resource wastage and potential reinventions. For example, let's say 10 generations before, they have invented already something. And now, if we are reinventing the same thing again, because we did not have the link to the past, and after 10 generations again, they're reinventing the same thing. Don't you think all of our resources and time has been wasted? Instead, if you build upon what has been already built, then we would be accelerating in our development. That is what another motto or another importance for understanding the Indian knowledge system, so that you can build from where our researchers of ancient has stopped and what they have given to us. Take that and we incorporate the modern understanding and make some new domains of work for the future. And everyone knows, nation with superior knowledge leads the rest of the world. Knowledge here, we'll define soon what knowledge means. But as we all know, the more the inventions, the more the technological development, the more the, not only technology, the more the spiritual development as well. That nation is respected the most and everyone will follow. Of course, it is not a race between the nations, but rather if you think the whole humanity is one, as a species needs to develop in harmony with where they are living, instead of looking for water on the Mars yet, we need to preserve the water on the earth. That simple statement, I think, can tell you much more as to how your outlook of life should be. Now, so is the pace okay, or am I going too fast? Can one of you tell me?
Regular,
Yeah, speak. Hello. Okay. Someone tried to speak.
It's all right, sir.
It's all right. Thank you. So ancient knowledge has fourfold utility for us. One, it gives us our identity. So if someone asks, who are you in this world? What have you contributed? Knowing this ancient knowledge, you can say we have contributed zero to the world. We have contributed decimal system to the world. We have contributed a vast knowledge of astronomy to the world. We have contributed yoga to the world, right? We have contributed so much to the world, yet we are still a developing nations in their terminology. I feel we have been developed and we are made developing nations because of our, let's say, some foolish decisions in the past during the British time or any other invasion times. It is our duty to again push us back to the true development, not only the monetary development that we should see. I hope you study different people's life stories, like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. For example, Steve Jobs, he came to India and looking for more than what he aspired to get. Like he didn't. I don't know if you already know the story. During his, I think, funeral or something. Yeah, during his funeral time, it was his last wish to distribute the autobiography of a yogi book to whoever came. I think this was told by his personal assistant. At least as much as I know, that was the story. Uh, Things like this show us that how much of wealth you have, the fame you have, still humans are little unsatisfied. It is India that gave them the satisfaction in finding their pot of happiness. In may it be music, may it be yoga, may it be meditation, whatever it may be, even the art. Uh, anyway, we'll be dealing a lot about these things in coming sessions. Just don't underestimate your own country. If you already know, that's good. For those who do not know about the greatness of our country, this is the chance for you to dive deep and they say, right, raise your heads with pride. Ancient knowledge gives culture. Many of the Western nations, when they were picking up stones and sticks, countries like India have already built multi-storied buildings. They have built natural air-conditioned rooms. They have had proper irrigation channels. They have had proper drainage systems. So that's something that should account for something, right? So it gives us a cultural heritage and a rich past where we can be proud of. And culture here means carried out since the past generations till now, what has been carried over via the familial traditions. For example, I was in Jaipur, right? I was in LNM. So in the 4 years that I was there, the way the people behave, the way the people means the native Rajasthanis, the way the paints were there in the cities. Of course, as an outsider, that's what I'll see first. But if I would have gone to my friends' families, I would have seen the more closeness of the culture. But hailing from Hyderabad, I know the differences that occur, and I know both the vibrancies. So culture, this hasn't come just within a day or two. It had been passed on from many, many, many generations. And we are still, every festival that comes, every event that comes, we have our unique way of celebration. This celebration itself suggests that we have a particular style in which we celebrate. But if you go to any recently developed nations, most of the culture is little bland, I would say. Uh, like I was in Ireland, yes, culture was good, okay, but I did not find the vibrance of the rich varieties, though it was mostly monotonous. So cultural, that is why they take liking to our festivals. You go to any European country, they celebrate the Diwali, they celebrate the Holi, they celebrate many other festivals. So why are they taking to our festivals? Because as a human being, we have discovered the way to celebrate, and as a fellow human, they are also liking the taste. But it was only possible because of recent exchanges of cultures. Many of us going there and portraying our culture to them. Anyway, this diffusion is eventual. Diffusion happens in not only physics, even in social department. Continuing, received wisdom. This is what I was saying as what we have been receiving, we should continue. Unless we continue of what we receive, there is a risk of repetition, and we don't want to fall into that risk. Another utility of ancient knowledge is economic value, and this is what most of the politicians would be interested in. Of course, if you need to convince about this course to genuinely interested person, that's good. But if someone is more interested in the economy is not bad. It is very good. Of course, Dhanamoolam idam jagat, they say, money rules the world. But if we need to bring economic value, we need to know ancient knowledge. And how is that? Can one of you tell me how ancient knowledge can generate economic value? It is in such past knowledge, right? How can it generate money right now? One of you, be brave and speak. Unfortunately, I don't know how to see the list while I'm sharing the screen, so I don't know the names. Okay, if no one is speaking, come on, yeah, someone should speak.
Question sharing our knowledge.
Yes, speak louder. Hello. Hello. Chirag Mehta, speak. Hello, hello. Okay, someone spoke and they went away. I'll wait one more minute.
Sir, एक बार question repeat करो ना sir.
The question is, हम ancient knowledge जान के अभी का economic value कैसे बढ़ाएंगे? How can we generate an economic value to the country by knowing the past? सर ये सब तो पुराना बात है, इससे हमको क्या फायदा करके अगर कोई क्वेश्चन बोलेगा, आप क्या जवाब देंगे इस इकोनॉमिक के टर्म्स में? क्वेश्चन समझ में आया?
यस सर, सर बहुत सारी टूरिस्ट प्लेस सर एंशिएंट टाइम में बनी थी सर, उससे टूरिस्ट प्लेस हो गया सर.
वेरी गुड. वो तो दिखाने का है. They are already there.
So we can make use of Ayurveda.
We can make use of Ayurveda, one of the ancient knowledge systems. So more research to be done in that. Yes. So I can understand. Okay, two answers are enough for me. The rest of you can discuss about amongst yourself. See, these topics are important. Instead of course, discussing a lot. Instead of saying, of course, along with discussing your routine topics and whenever you have free time, you can also discuss these things to enrich your own research and knowledge. Now, for example, have you ever heard of the word patent? Like nowadays, it is patents that rule the world, right? The moment you have an idea, you have to patent it so that no one else can claim that the idea is theirs. And if the idea has been manifested into production, you will get some royalty of money. In the past, if you see, in America, there are some organizations which have patented their rights on turmeric. And there's a research article published in Nature. I hope you all know about the Nature magazine, which is one of the world's top research journal. In that, one article came which showed as to how India forced the patent organization to revoke the patent because the turmeric was indigenous plant and many users had been already there in India, which means we have, first of all, instead of paying lump sum amounts to them whenever we created some medicine, we saved ourselves from being looted. And second, in future, whenever we discover medicines, it will be our own right rather than rest of the world. But turmeric was only one case. Many people have patented on neem, patented on pigeon peas apparently, which means arhar dal, the everyday dal that you eat. People even patented on the medicinal value of that dal. Now imagine that which you use every day, that which your grandparents and great grandparents have been suggesting as home remedies. If everyone starts patenting in the West and saying that this is our own and you need to pay for whatever medicine you create from this idea, doesn't it hurt our own identity? So that is where, we generate economic value by researching more into what our ancients have researched, including the modern technology. We can bring out vast and wide variety of things. Okay. Whoever answered, is my answer complementing yours?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, I love my country a lot. I don't know about you. I hope you all also love your country. So most of the time I'll be speaking like that. I'm very proud of it. Not just because empty proud, I know stuff and hence I am proud. You should also know your stuff and be proud. That being happy with your own country is one of the best things that you can, develop. If you're not happy with your own country, I don't think you can find happiness anywhere in the world. Apparently, recently I saw a video where some person, they said they're happy that they're away from India. But then all their childhood and education was from India. The food they eat was from India. Every farmer in India worked hard for it. So I don't think such statements are making any sense. I don't know the mentality. You need to develop your mentality to the right order, for which IKS is very much a tool. That's about ancient knowledge. Now let us define formally. Of course, we can't keep on speaking stories. We need to come to formality and formalism because this is an engineering course for you. So defining IKS, so it has three basic words: India, knowledge, and system. The moment I say India, most of us are recollected of the present map of India, right? But in the IKS subject, it is basically what we call as Akhanda Bharat. Khanda means partition. Akhanda means non-partition. So the ancient land, which, as you can see in the map, starting from the present Afghanistan till the Myanmar, from the northern Himalayas till Sri Lanka, whatever the region is, we call it India in terms of IKS. We can't keep on calling it the present political map. What is the reason for it? Because our knowledge, see, India like this was partitioned in 1947. Before that, it wasn't like this. That means, and we are speaking about ancient knowledge. So the knowledge that had been given to wide population of the country was from all the regions in the Akhanda Bharat. Therefore, we have to take contributions from all these regions in those eras, not now. In those eras, what they contributed in those regions is what we would be considering. For example, Chanakya, he was educated in the West in Takshashila, but he was instrumental in establishing a Mauryan empire in Pataliputra in the east of India. Panini, if you ever heard of his name, he was the grammarian of Sanskrit. In fact, Sanskrit's grammar is one of the most enigmatic topics in computers department. I'll show you one person soon in the next module, maybe. Professor R.L. Kashyap, who was a computer network engineer. He wrote some research papers on how Sanskrit grammar was helping the algorithms. But more on that, you can take it as essays or projects in future. For now, Panini, he was from the West, but he influenced the whole country with his system of grammar, sophisticated system. So we consider the whole vast land of India for India and the Indian knowledge systems. Someone's mic is on, please switch off. Yeah, coming to knowledge. Knowledge is not only a piece of any information, it is spread across three domains of life: one spiritual, one religious, and one social. And in IKS, the knowledge is defined as follows. Knowledge is defined as that emanating from the wisdom and insights arising out of the deep experiences, observation, experimentation, and analysis, and validated, improved, and augmented further. It is a very technical definition of knowledge, but a precise definition. What it's trying to say is, it's emanating from the wisdom and insights arising out of deep experiences, observation, experimentation. First of all, experiences means the yoga and other philosophies come under that experiences thing to calm yourself. Nowadays, everyone is going to psychologists and psychiatry, right? How to calm ourselves. I'm tensed, I'm that, I'm this. But in the past, they discovered self tools to monitor your own mental health and be calm and happy. Such experiences, knowledge, and the observations, as you all know about Aryabhatta and Varahamihira's works, at least Aryabhatta you would know, as how he has observed and suggested the distance of the Earth to Sun or the diameter of the Earth, etc., just from observing the shadow lengths as he was traveling in a boat sometime. Such observations and experimentation, like the alchemy, which is ancient form of chemistry, and Ayurveda is one such, like Rasayana Vidya and all, have many experimentations occurred. And analysis and validated, of course, this is self-explanatory. Augmented further is the continuity of research. For example, if you go to Veda, there are many lineages of rishis who augmented the Veda over the period of time. And what Veda is and all we'll soon learn. But augmentation is also an important part. You can't say, write a book of set of 1,000 pages and say, this is for eternity of life. No, you can't do that. And in India, we had that flexibility. We never said, this is the final compendium of everything that you can know. Then that would close the domains for future inventions. Okay. That is why everyone keeps saying indigenous, whatever culture was, it was not religious, but it was mostly dharmic. They use the word dharma every time. What it means is, we are not only confined to a set of regulation and rules like every other religion, you also have extra space for improving after following this. That extra space is as much required for any person who seeks freedom, right? For example, you're learning electronics and communications or computer science. After 4 years, we say what you learned in 4 years is the only thing you should do. How boring the life would be. But instead we say that is a backdrop. On that you develop further. How happy we would feel in order to work and develop and correlate and interrelate with each other's works. That is very much important, and that has been there in our knowledge system since the past. Of course, what is system then? System means a structural methodology and a classification scheme to access the available corpus of knowledge. And knowledge needs to be collected, grouped, and arranged logically. You just can't say, हमारे देश में ऐसे ही बोलते. No, you can't say that. You can't use that word whenever you're speaking to a scientific community. You can't say, that's how things are in India. No. You should have a methodology, a premise, a hypothesis, a logical proof. Only then whatever you propose will be accepted by anyone. Therefore, knowledge needs to be collected, grouped, and arranged logically. And this is one of the qualities of system. Codification and classification of the available knowledge using a definite framework is one more dimension on the word system. Sorry for the typo, on the word system. So codification and classification. Codification means you need to encode. There are sutra style and all. I'll again explain all that in the coming lectures. You encode vast knowledge in small statements. By decoding one small statement, you will get vast information. Such kind of things are also needed to make things concise. So that is about defining the terms in Indian knowledge system. If anyone have any questions, 1 or 2 of you can ask me. I'll give 2 minutes time. हिंदी में भी पूछ सकते हो. मेरा हिंदी इतना परफेक्ट नहीं है, but I'll try to answer. In fact, my Hindi I learned only after coming to Jaipur LNM. My seniors made me learn. Before that, I didn't know Hindi, so at least relatively it was very, very bad. Anyone looking, always a teacher looks for a beautiful question. Someone please answer, ask. Why is everyone coming from lobby now? No questions? Vedant, I can see you, so I'm asking you any questions? Mr. Vedant?
Good evening, sir.
Yes. Who is this?
Sir, myself Noor.
Yeah, no, tell me.
Sir, I don't have a question, but एक opinion share करना था आपसे.
Share करो.
Sir, हमें वेदास के बारे में पढ़ाया जाना चाहिए, right?
Yes, पढ़ाया जाना चाहिए. Yes. That is what
So
I'll be doing in the following sessions.
Part of curriculum.
That is why they introduced IKS, and that is why I'll be teaching you that. It should be, yes. And that is what people thought, and that is why this course has been introduced. Your next module is on the Vedas, and I'm going to go a little deeper in that.
Okay, sir.
Because I have personal fascination with it. Anyone else? Hello. Where is the female empowerment? Where are girls? I don't hear anyone. Until now, only boys had been interacting. When I come to Vedas, I'll be showing in the Rig Veda itself, there have been 40 women saints who discovered the mantras. Not many people know this fact. So don't say our country, only male domination was there, or all those things are all idiotic statements who do not know proper, what do we say? Information about our own ancient past. Of course, in the medieval times, something happened, but in the past, it was a rich vibrancy of equality. Anyway, come on, someone, 1 more minute. One girl who can represent all the girls in the class. No one? I don't know, I can't see the list. Okay, I'll be proceeding further. When I close this session, I'll ask again. IKS framework, and this is going to be more organized. Any IKS subject or any kind of treatment to Indian knowledge system, it must be having 3 factors to be taken into consideration. If you have to portray all the knowledge we had in the past, very first thing, it should be complete. That means you should not only take the literary examples, you should also take the non-literary examples and non-literary based knowledge into consideration. Otherwise, it is not complete. Once mic is on. Raghav, can you mute yourself? Mr. Raghav. Thank you. Compactness. Of course, it should be compact, because if it is not compact, and if I give you 100 volumes to study, you won't. You'll just escape it and you will run away to something else. So things should be compact. Compact doesn't mean single page. Things should be sensibly compact. And there must be interconnectedness between different traditions of the past. Because there have been a continual development. It is not an abrupt development. In your, I don't know if you have already done, you're in first semester, right? I don't know if you already know delta functions or continuous and discontinuous functions. So the development of a country's knowledge is a continuous function. It's not a discontinued function or a series of discrete functions. Therefore, there must be interconnectedness between different traditions, and you must point that out. And you can freely go from one tradition to the other by knowing the common points and by understanding the differences. Instead of discriminating, you can find the differences in terms of complementarity. Everyone, please mute your mics. Can you check everyone if your mics are muted? It's disturbing the class. Okay. After these three facts, the whole classification framework can be broken down into the following three. As I already pointed out, the IKS consists of literary as well as non-literary sources. In the literary, we have what is known as Sanatana Dharma. Don't confuse it with the isms of the country like Hinduism or something. Sanatana Dharma is before even any isms have sprouted in the mentality of humanity. So here Sanatana, the word itself means coming from antiquity, an ancient period of time. And Dharma, we'll be defining what Dharma is in the future course. Basically, Dharma means something like eternal law. And there are other traditions. We'll see what they are. We have regional knowledge as well. Like you go to West Bengal, there have been much literature written in the art of Tantra. You go to South, there are many, like Tirukkural in the Tamil Nadu. You have many varieties of knowledge composed in their own regional languages. Therefore, unless you take regional languages also into picture, you won't be again complete. You can't say, I want to take only Sanskritized literature. You can't do that. Even after Sanskrit was developed, there are other languages which also flourished, and they have their own development and contributing to the Indian knowledge system. We have oral traditions as well, as I have already pointed out. Many oral traditions differ from culture to culture, sect to sect, and we need to consider them as well. So Sanatana Dharma consists of what is known as Chaturdasa Vidyasthanas. Chaturdasa. Chatur means 4, Dasa means 10. In Sanskrit, you read the numbers reversed. Ankanam Vamato Gati Dese. So Dasa Chatur means 10 plus 4, which is 14. So Chaturdasa means 14 Vidyasthanas. Vidya means education. So 14 varieties of education has been you can say grouped into what is known as our Sanatana Dharma, one part. Another Sanatana Dharma also have basics and applied sciences, like you had art of war, art of construction, the art of music, and many more. Even agriculture, which I forgot to mention in the list there, agricultural technology that we had observed and developed is one of the beautiful methods which doesn't harm the nature. There is a CI case. Recently, someone told me about it. Center for Indian Knowledge, CI case is there. There they are actually, farming by self-sustaining method. That means they don't import anything from outside. So inside the circle itself, they will be circulating the material, and they're trying to make it self-sustain in a sustainable way. Such methods are always taken from the past. In modern methodology, it's always use and throw form, and we shouldn't do that because whatever you throw is piling up somewhere, and we often forget about that. And that would cause damage to the environment at one point of the time, definitely, when it reaches a threshold. In other traditions, in the literary, we have Buddhism and Jainism. Most of us only know about Buddhism and Jainism as religious order, but they contributed a lot even to mathematics and science. We are going to explore about those in the particular lecture slots. In the regional, as I said, every Indian regional languages have their own set of wisdom. And finally, arts, health, folklore, everything come under oral tradition. For example, music, Carnatic music, if you consider, it has been handed down from guru to shishya to guru to shishya. How can you even write how to sing? You can't write it. You might say sa, re, etc., but you can't write in what pitch and what tone you can. Of course, there are books on that, but they are only helping to the one who is already under the training of a guru who is teaching orally. Therefore, oral traditions are as much important to IKS as non-oral literary subjects. What are these 14 Vidyasthanas, the core of the Sanatana Dharma? We have the Vedas. There are 4 Vedas, as someone asked recently, just now, about so the Vedas in education needs to be incorporated or not. Yes, it needs to be. But whoever asked me, to them I'm saying, to learn the Veda whole itself takes like 7 years. Okay. And including all the permutations and combinations of the varieties in the Veda, this is one Veda I'm speaking. It takes like 14 years. Imagine someone learning all the 4 Vedas in all the permutations. So lifetime is not sufficient. Hence, only the summary view can be incorporated in this kind of courses. But of course, personally, when you have free time, whoever is interested should go approach the wise and learn it. So the 4 Vedas include Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharvana Veda. Along with the Vedas, we also have Upavedas, that means it's like an appendix to a book, or rather you can say helping manuals. So we have Ayurveda. Ayurveda deals with medical science. Dhanurveda deals with the art of war, etc. Shilpa Veda deals with art of constructions and all, and Gandharva Veda deals with the other fine arts like dance, music, etc. Then we have 6 Vedangas. Anga means limb. So Vedanga means limbs of the Veda. We have Shiksha, Vyakarana, Nirukta, Chandas, Jyotisha, and Kalpa. Briefly, I will tell about them. Again, about all these things, we'll be going a little deeper in the further class. Shiksha helps you in intonation. Until now, you have known the knowledge or wisdom only in a literary form. So whatever you heard or whatever you wrote in your notes, that's what you studied and you transmitted it. Have you ever thought that a tone given to a word can also change a meaning? Imagine if I tell, so Anshika, I see the word Anshika there, so I'm speaking her name. Or Anshika, if I say like that, or Anshika or Anshika. Like there are 3 levels I have spoken. I'm not a singer, so that's the best I could do. In the 3 levels of the tone that I mentioned, if you go to the Vedic scriptures, the tone changes the meaning for some of the words. Therefore, haven't you encoded extra information into a single word, which is the tone? This is one of the best way to encode the wisdom transmitted orally. So Siksha is that part of Vedanga, which suggests how to utter something accurately, because if you utter it in a different way, uska meaning badal jayega, the meaning changes completely. Hence, you can't read the Vedas from the text alone. Mind my words. You should not read it alone. You have to utter it to understand it if you know the meaning of the utterance that is given by Siksha. Then we have Vyakarana. Everyone knows, whoever have done their Hindi as a first or second or third languages will know. Vyakarana means grammar. But the Sanskrit grammar of the Veda is not completely, more different than the Sanskrit grammar of the contemporary Sanskrit. And that Sanskrit, many of the Indian languages imbibed their grammatical rules. Of course, if you do not know the Vyakarana or the grammar, you cannot understand the word or the statement. Nirukta. like we have dictionary, we have what is known as Nirukta for the Vedas, but Nirukta is not a dictionary. Dictionary is Nighantu in the Sanskrit. But Nirukta is that branch of wisdom which gives you the development of words. For example, we have the word Gauhu. From Gauhu, Gava will come. Gava or Gau became cow later on in the Latin languages. So the word cow and the family of other words which will be like Gochara, Gochara Phala, all the words which we speak in different shastras, they all have one root Gau. To understand what the whole family of words suggest, you need to know the meaning of the root words. Sanskrit is very precise in its root word and the family of words. And without understanding this family tree structure of the word, you can't understand what they are meaning. This is where Nirukta comes. In fact, I'll take this opportunity to say, like, the misunderstanding of these words itself caused the confusion in some of the Western scholars to think there have been animal sacrifices in the Vedas. Like you listen about Ashwamedha Yaga or Manushya Yaga or many other yagas are there. They have understood it as killing of horses or killing of humans or killing of something. But apparently there is no word for killing in those contexts at all, first thing. And second, the word Ashwa or Gau, all these do not directly imply animals. If you go to Nirukta, you will see a different meaning associated with them in form of derivative steps. Like Gau is the word associated to light. That is why when our planets are seen from the Earth, if the planets are transiting, they say Gochara. Means the planetary orbs, which are the light bulbs, they're traveling across the Earth. That's what they used. Gochara doesn't mean cows are walking on the sky. So some Western scholar, he translated as cows walking in the sky. And I was like, it was hilarious to listen. So this kind of mistranslations will go away when you know the Shastra of Nirukta. Then we have Chandas. Chandas is like, what do we call? Prosody, or basically it's a rhythm, poetic rhythm. So unless you know the poetic rhythm, you do not understand in which context the framework is being presented to you. Because why do we have a structure of poetry? I hope you have learned about Shakespeare's poetry or even Kalidasa's poetry. You have certain meters that are used. Even in English, they have meters. In Sanskrit, there are plenty of meters. Why do you think there are meter for a poetic poetry? Why can't it be just loose and just ending words could rhyme? No, why should there be meter? I can see Anshika Agarwal. Can they say something about why a meter should be there? Anshika, are you there? Hello. Hello. So someone is not there, but they're present. Anshika Agarwal, that's what I'm seeing. If there are
Yes.
many Anshikas, they can speak. Yes. Did you understand my question? What was my question? Hello, Anshika, I could hear you. Can you, if you want, I can repeat the question. Can you say something? Hello, hello. Anshika, will you be speaking or won't you speak? If you don't want to answer, that's fine, but just tell me. So I'll ask someone else. The question is, why should there be meters in poetry? What is the purpose of a meter? Meter means the rhythm that you see, like ABC, ABC, AB, 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 BB, A, like that. There are meters in poetry. Why should there be there? If you go to ancient Sanskrit, there are chandas, we call it chandas. What is the purpose of it? Any idea? Or what do you guess? Okay, someone else? Whoever answered. Noor, you answered in the past. Can you tell me?
Sir, it can create a musical effect on brain.
Musical effect on brain. Beautiful. Yes, indeed. See, if I speak with this one tone, please come. And if I say the same thing, come here. That tone itself is making a difference in our reaction to the question. Then the meters in a poetry, as Noor pointed out, it gives you a feeling, a musical feeling, a rhythm, a particular experience that the author or the poet has experienced and he or she wants to convey. That is conveyed through the meter. And
Sir, it
if you
can
do not,
emphasize the idea of the poem.
yes, indeed, it can give us a backdrop as to what the theme or what the feeling of the poem is going to be. Indeed, very good. Who is that? Who spoke just now?
Sir, Sakash.
Akash. Good one.
Sakash, not Akash.
Sakash.
Yes, sir.
Sakash. Yes.
Yes.
Good. Okay, that is about Chandas. So Chandas gives you the metrical key to understand the scriptures. Then we have Jyotisha. Unfortunately, the word Jyotisha is understood as astrology and more so as predictive science, which is not the case. If you go to the ancient books of Jyotisha as the Vedanga, Bala Gangadhar Tilak, the freedom fighter, he has written a book on Vedanga Jyotisha, an exposition on that. Of course, his work is based on the original work of Lagada Maharshi, who wrote Vedanga Jyotisha. This Vedanga Jyotisha basically deals with astronomy as well as the effects of certain configurations of the sky on the earth. Now, whether it is true or not true, it's a debatable topic in the modern scientific context. But if you go into IKS, because it has been handed down by our ancestors and they have had much more free time than us to observe the nature and put it in one solid framework, we can take there might be a lot of truth than we are even imagining. Now, of course, sir, how can the Jyotisha, etc., be more scientific? That you guys have to dig deep into the future and see as to how can you make it more scientific and appreciable for the modern scientific tongue. Okay. But of course, it has been boiled down to very demeaning art of prediction on the roadside for earning money, which is not the case at all in terms of Vedanga. Not at all. Then we have, for example, one example I'll give from Jyotisha. If you understand the Jyotisha, there are mentions about dividing a circle into 360 degrees and 720 degrees. Okay. If you go to Mahabharata, there is an episode where a prayer is done to Ashwini Devatas. And in that, they mention that there is one cow which has only one udder. Udder means from where you milk the cow. From one udder, 360 cows. Sorry, my bad. There are 360 cows, but for 360 cows combined, there is only one udder itself. From that, one calf is drinking the milk. This is the phrase given in the Mahabharata. Now, whoever like a Western oriented mind reads it, they'll be like, what nonsense is this? What is 360 cows? What is one udder? Why is one calf drinking the milk? All this is just fantasy. But if you know the key of Jyotisha, you will understand that they are mentioning about sun as the udder. The 360 in a plane, if you want to represent the sun, they are representing the 360 rays of the sun as the 360 cows, having one common udder. The calf is the earth, which is drinking the milk, which is the sunlight. So it is getting nourished by the sunlight. Because earth has been many times called as Vatsara in the Vedas. Vatsa means a baby. Vatsara means earth. Samvatsara means the year cycle that the earth rotates. So all these combinedly, you will see that Jyotisha helps us understand our scriptures better than instead of just throwing them away as simple nonsensical terms. Just because we don't understand something doesn't make the other thing nonsensical. It is our approach that needs to be changed, and further Jyotisha is needed. And Kalpa. Kalpa is a book that gives, what do we call? The instruction manual as to how to do the yajnas and all. More about that soon. I think it's been 1 hour for you guys. If you want to take 5 minutes break, you can. Please come in 5 minutes. I'll start exactly in 5 minutes from now. And those who do not want to go to break can interact with me. Puranas and Itihasas. Puranas are like mythological stories, rather legends. Itihasa means history. Itihasa. So this is how it happened. That's what it means. So Itihasas and Puranas, for some examples, Ramayana and Mahabharata are Itihasas. Then Bhagavata Purana, Markandeya Purana, Agni Purana, Vayu Purana, you have many Puranas. All these are also part of Vidyasthana. What they are and all, it's a very vast topic, and I don't think if I touch it, 1 hour is not sufficient. So I'll move forward, and if chance gives, I'll come back later. Then we have Dharma Shastras and Smriti. Dharma Shastras are like Manu Dharma Shastra or Parashara Smriti. All these are like, you can say, commandments. They help you how to organize a society and live in a society. They are like rules of an institute. If you are in LNM, let's say, you have certain code of conduct, right? Who decides that? Certain high wise body in the institute decides. Similarly, the Dharma Shastras or the Smritis are some of the conducts as well as lifestyle oriented instructions given by the well-educated, well-observed scientists in the past. Then we have darshanas like Nyaya, Yoga, Vaiseshika, Sankhya, Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa, which are all part of Sanatana Dharma. About these things, we will not go too deep. Mostly at max, I'll be going Vedas and Vedantas. The rest, I'll leave it for your exploration in the future classes. As you can see, the 14 Vidyasthanas itself is so vast. Imagine how vast is IKS altogether. But because our course is introduction only, we'll be touching all different aspects and make you at least well aware, if not educated, of what our knowledge system is all about. Other literatures of Sanatana Dharma are like basics and applied sciences such as mathematics, the Ganita Shastra, the astronomy, Khagola Shastra, the biology, Jiva Shastra, and many things are there. Engineering and technologies. If you ask, sir, is there engineering in our country in the past? If you go to temples, you will understand the temple architecture itself had so much engineering in construction. So to ask such questions without exploring our country, Noor, you raised your hand. You want to ask something?
So there was little bit voice issue.
Now is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Oh, hello? Okay. In engineering and technologies, we have metallurgy, shipbuilding, alchemy, cosmetics, dyes, town planning, architecture, and whatnot. Again, you need to realize 400 to 500 years back in the West, they were still in the developing stages. And 1,000 years or 2,000 years back, we had one of the peak of our civilizational achievements. Health and wellness. Ayurveda dealing with the health, yoga and Upanishads dealing with the psychology relating to the mundane and the spiritual, the physical and mental as well. Then we have the Niti Shastras, like Bhartrihari Subhashitas, Panchatantra stories, the Rajaniti, etc. Niti here means morals. Unless we educate the children of a certain era, you can't imagine a society with a well-developed mental attitude. So Subhashitas, the Panchatantra stories are one of the best things that our ancestors have given to us. Because the stories of Panchatantra are still attractive in this day, even after many YouTube videos and all, to the kids who haven't been polluted with the cell phones in their hands. As you have observed in your own families, nowadays kids are all holding their cell phones and looking at the YouTube and videos. The doctors themselves are suggesting these days not to introduce such vibrant colors and audios at that young age, because the brain can't assimilate and process as efficiently, and that is why we see so much distraction in the kids. They are getting angry, they are getting agitated and all. But instead, if you introduce, you yourself study these things, and when you go to your homes, if you have your nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters, take them to the terrace. Just look at the sky, vast sky. Speak some stories. So these are the memories you would build. If you sit and chat with cell phones all along, after 30 days, I ask you what you did in your home, there is no memory that you're building. There's no feeling of spending time with family. So these are the things that we have. Unfortunately, in the West, they don't have that much of these things. Yes, they do have certain stories, folklore and all, but the wide varieties that we have can't be compared at all. My favorite are these Panchatantra stories, and I really enjoyed during my childhood days. Not only for listening, these stories make an imprint in your mind, and you will behave as per an example of a story that you take. Is it not? So they have a long-term effect, because the young, fresh minds are to be imprinted by moral ideas, the you can say patriotic ideas, you can say helpful ideas and all, so that they develop to be good humans. I don't believe all humans are bad, that there is no, but there are situations when they behave bad. So in those situations also, the humans can choose, and the choosing ability will make them choose what they decide to be good rather than pleasurable. This difference will generate only in the younger age when they're educated with certain things, and the Niti Shastras are one such part. Then we have public administration like Arthashastra, Manusmriti, Niti Shastra. This Niti Shastra shouldn't come here. Arthashastra, Manusmriti, etc. In Arthashastra, it's not only about economics, it is also about understanding the whole ruling and governing mechanism of a country or a nation. So unless one go back to the roots of the Arthashastras and learn how they used to do, of course, times have changed. Certain things that are considered bad, maybe good now, maybe good, bad now, or maybe certain new things have to come. Differences in crimes have developed, differences in punishments by the police have changed, etc. But again, everything will have a common theme. The theme is to change the humanity to the good, not to just give away punishment and forget about those who are punished. The whole goal is to convert the wrongly going few humans into the right path. And for that, studying of these is very much important. Then we have arts, like the work of Kalidasa, which is one of the best contributions to the Sanskrit. Then you have Bana Bhatta and others in the poetry. You have Natya Shastra of Bharata. The whole of the Indian dance system, they have their roots in the Bharatanatyam. Then you have Kama Shastra of Vatsayana. Unfortunately, by the West, again, this is understood as one of the demeaning scriptures, but the Kama, the meaning itself means a desire and how to fulfill your desires. Therefore, how efficient, suppose you have a desire to work in a fortune company, right? You have decided to be a CEO of Google, let's say. That is also Kama. So how to achieve that goal? What should you do to achieve that goal? What process, what orientation, what changes you need to bring in your lifestyle to achieve that goal? These are the things I dealt in this, along with family life and all. Therefore, you can't just listen to the Western scholars' interpretation of our scriptures, nor Westernized Indian scholars' interpretation of our knowledge. You should go back to the roots and understand the intent of the authors themselves. by exploring and finding the synergy in various scriptures that are present. It is your duty to shun away or remove the husk and take the grain of the wheat and the rice. Any truth is mixed with husk, which is untruth, but you need to be using your buddhi, which means you need to first know what you have in your ahead of you to deal with. That is why all these things needs to be touched upon by your own explorations. I won't be touching these things except for engineering, mathematics, the language, and the nitis. Little bit of this in our coming lectures. Not all, of course. It's not possible by a single person. Next, in other dharmic traditions, we have Buddhism. Most of the literature dealt with religious concepts, yes. But in Buddhism also, we have those works which are dealt with mathematics, maritime activities, and alchemy. For example, Nagarjuna's Rasaratnakara is one of the noteworthy works in the Ayurveda Shastra. Nagarjuna is very famous for his medical science work. In Jainism also, again, most of the literature dealt with religious corpus, yes, of course. But again, it also has mathematics as an integral part called Ganitanu Yoga, Anuyoga Dwara Sutras, Vyavahara Sutras, Surya Prajna Pati, Mahaviracharya's Ganita Sara Sangraha, and these are some of the works that we can quote. Personally, I did not study these though, but I referred to in my researches in the past. And this Mahaviracharya's Ganita Sara is very in a different class. It's a very good one. Tattvadha Sutra of Uma Swati is also noteworthy apparently. These are some works which you can today explore and see what they are, why are they famous, in what way have they presented the mathematics, how is it different from the mathematics we are learning in an engineering college in this day. So you will know how the attitude of the ancients was. Of course, as I said, most of our traditions are oral traditions. What must be some of the characters of an oral tradition? First of all, it should be precise and it should be specific. Precise because if I have, this is an explanatory course, so I'm explaining so much to you. But if it were a wisdom that needs to be transmitted to you as a generation to generation art, I can't sit and explain you for hundreds and hundreds of hours about every small thing. I will be explaining you about few important things. The rest I will be asking you to think based on your own intuition. But I will be cutting short the phrases I'll give you. I'll be precise in telling you what is what and what is what. That is why you see, compare, for example, Bhagavad Gita to Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Bhagavad Gita is written in 700 shloka format. It is like a song. It has a rhythm. It has many things. But if you go to Yoga Sutras, it is like instructions. It starts with Ada Yoga Anushasana. That means now the instruction starts. He says bullet points and he asks us to follow. No explanation is given. If we follow, we will reap the fruits and we'll understand what the author is saying. So such things are called precise and specific. And these are what oral traditions mastered in the past. Also, the approach was not linear at all. I hope you know the word linear and non-linear. Here in this context I'm using, it's not direct, basically. Non-linear approach is vividly visible in almost all the IKS system that we have. For example, you take the Nyaya, the philosophical system, it deals with the logic and argumentation. You take the Puranas or the Ithihasas, they deal with administration, morals of life, astronomy and all. You take works on mathematics. Through mathematics, again, they try to bring in the niti, the morals, the poetry. It is written in poetic form, beauty, structure, etc. So no single work. It's like, for example, we take a maths textbook today. It is only about maths, nothing else. You take physics, starting from the first page onwards, they will tell you about how the things are, what is an experiment, how an experiment is done, what result you got, blah, 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 and they continue till the end of the text. That is why we are not feeling the fun or the urge to read such books. Imagine if the same works for, I don't know if you ever heard, there is a work called Bhaskaracharya's Leelavati Ganita. So there's a mathematician called Bhaskaracharya. He wrote a Leelavati, the book naming his daughter. In that book, every problem was of algebra, but the problems give you a wide variety of the cultural context in those days. And even the natural beauties, even the intelligent thoughts. So such things are missing in the present day education system, which you can get from the past and try to change or at least modify the present to infuse such a golden thing. Otherwise, things will get more monotonic, and monotony is not at all the human mind's characteristic. Human mind always needs a change. As I already pointed out in the past, these oral traditions are all covering three major domains. One, spiritual domain. Here, spiritual doesn't mean miraculous, Baba, that kind of a thing. Here, spiritual means something related to your own self. Basically, understanding yourself. Who am I? You know, the age-old question the philosophers have asked, who am I? And the answers given by Indian scripture as Tattvamasi, like you are that, etc. These are the things that relate to your spiritual. That means understanding one's own self. You might have questioned yourself, or you will question in 4 years from now. What do I want to become? Which company should I join? Where am I headed? Who I have to become? What am I doing right now, and what should I do? All those seem philosophy. They are relating to your own self. And unless you understand the spiritual side of the life, you won't really understand the purpose of your life. Then we have the religious side. The religious side is basically here means communal. As a community, how would you develop? Because in olden days, religion means group of people having similar thoughts, forming certain rigid boundary, trying to develop their own thought process. So in such a way, how would you develop as a community? How would you improve further? How would you change that which you do not like, that which has been creeped into the system, etc. And it should be secular in the sense, just because you formed a single group doesn't mean you insult the other group. As a multiple groups, you still form like unity in diversity. So these all three kinds needs to be addressed by the, in fact, they're addressed in the IKS system. Okay. Now, to preserve such vast knowledge that I have been speaking, through generations of oral traditions, people used many encoding mechanisms. So one is metrical structure, because a meter to some literary piece or an oral piece will, if I have a meter and I'm uttering it in certain rhythm, when I pass it down to you, you wouldn't change the rhythm because our brain has a capacity to transmit rhythm much faster. That is why when we hear some songs, even while walking in a corridor, you hum some songs, right? Even though you're not conscious of it. Suddenly when your friend comes and agar if he praises, yeah, wow, badhiya, or if you go, ye kya gatiya ga raha hai? And when they present to us the opinion of our singing, then we are conscious as to, oh, was I singing? Was I humming? So our mind has a tendency to take the music subconsciously, which means the metrical verses or the meter to a verse and transmitted orally will have greater impact of transmission via generation to generation without spoiling the integrity of the work. Then we have mnemonic structures, which is like sutra style, which I have already explained. I'll explain in future again, little bit. Then you have other encoding mechanisms such as Siksha, which I have already spoken, the intonation key. Then you have Katapayadi sutras, for example, you know Varnamala in Hindi, right? Ka, kha, ga, gha, cha, cha, ja, cha, etc. This is called Katapayadi, means Adi means etc. So all the alphabet in Sanskrit, they are given certain numbers by this sutra style. Once you provide numbers, then whenever I form certain words, those numbers are always indicated by it. For example, one simple example I give you. Does any one of you know the original name of the Mahabharata? It wasn't Mahabharata when it was written by Vedavyasa. Anyone knows? Sakash, the names I forgot.
Sir, it's something like Jaya Samitha, I guess.
Jaya, very good, brilliant. It was called Jaya. So when you allocate numbers to Jaya, Ja would get 8 and Ya would get 1. I will show you those again in future. And as I said in the starting of the lecture, in Sanskrit, numbers are to be reversed. Ankanam Vamatogati. Vama means reverse. The 1, 8 and 1 becomes 1 and 8. That is why the Jaya work has 18 chapters. It has basically 18 cantos, you can say. The war of Mahabharata took place for 18 days. The song of Bhagavad Gita was in 18 chapters. And there are 18 set of armies in the fighting, so on and so forth. So the 18, because it is coming over and over and over again in the scriptures, it was named Jaya, also called victorious in a literal meaning. So as you can see, there is a number that is associated, there is a meaning that is associated, which means such encoding mechanisms give us extra information without spoiling the integrity of the work. If I would have called it Unnis, 19, the work wouldn't have become so famous, is it? I should give it a beautiful name, as well as I want to give it some more information. Our ancients have that art of encoding. Then you have Bhuta Sankhya. Bhuta Sankhya means certain things are taken for granted beforehand, like Bhutas. You have 5 Panchabhutas, like earth, water, fire, air, and space. Then you have, the moment Brahma is spoken, there are 4 phases for Brahma. Agni is spoken 3, Tretagni, they say 3, etc. So whenever these words come in a literary piece, not only the literal meaning you can take, you can also decode the numbers in that, and hence you can get a number information that is existing in the literary piece. The Acharya of the Puri, the Shankaracharya of the Puri, he introduced one shloka, which was Gopi Madhura something. I forgot. I'll present it in the next lecture. When you decode, when you use this Bhuta Sankhya and the Katapayadi to that, apparently you will get the value of pi. So even though literally it is giving you the meaning of some Lord Krishna is in Vrindavana playing with Gopikas and enjoying in the nice, beautiful environment, the decoding mechanism provides you the value of pi encoded for some 30 decimal places or something. Art is a very unique art to India, nowhere else present in the world. As far as my knowledge goes and my understanding goes, of course. Anyone can correct me if I'm wrong. So that is the IKS corpus. If you go to the historicity, sir, kitna purana hai? How old is this IKS if you say? As you can see, oops, sorry. As you can see, it goes to before Common Era of 3000, and it actually dates much beyond. But this is the era where we have the literary proof of what they have. The Vedas, the Puranas, and the Mahabharata. In the 3000 BCE to 500 CE, we have Vedanga Jyotisha. As you can see the list on the left side, the right side you have the names of the categories the work belong, like Vedanga Jyotisha for astronomy, Manusmriti for administration, Shulva Sutras for mathematics. This is where you will find the Bodhayana Sutra for the Pythagoras theorem, etc. Then you have Shrauta Samhita, Ashtadhyayi, Natya Shastra for the dance. Then you have Buddhistic texts for philosophy. Then Arthashastra for administration, Yoga Sutras for control of mind, Rasratnakara for alchemy and chemistry. Then you have Amarakosha, basically the Nighantu, the linguistics, etc. Then from 500 CE to 1800 CE, that means the recent past, this is the peak of our innovations, where you have Aryabhatta developing the astronomical side. Then you have Panchasiddhanta, Maya Mata, the architecture, the Brahmasputa Siddhanta of astronomy. then Mahabhashya in astronomy, Narada Shilpa Shastra of architecture, Ganita Shastra for mathematics. Then you have Samarangana Sutradhara, even I do not know what it is. Siddhanta Shiromani for astronomy, Ashtanga Hridaya for basically Ashtanga Hridaya is the core of Ayurvedic text. So astronomy, mathematics, and health sciences got their peak contributions in the medieval times. And usually, if you go to Western histories, they would say 3000 BC is a dark age. The humans were just playing with stones and sticks. They were just living like cavemen. Well, we have all these things. How can we call it a dark age? We cannot call it a dark age. In fact, even in the Dwaraka, the archaeological foundations itself surface at least 3000 years before Common Era. That means from now it was like 5000 years back. Could have been the Mahabharata epic happening. I have told the points through this. Basically, the medieval, in the 3000 to 500 CE, you can see the arts developing, and after that, the sciences developing. Of course, as I pointed, this table and the course content, and most of the course content is taken from the textbook I told, and other part of the free explanations I'm giving is my own understandings. In summary, what have we done? Ancient knowledge was preserved and transmitted orally for generations. Transforming knowledge into economic value has been fully formalized with the intellectual property rights regulations and patent laws. For a country like India, which has such a wealth of knowledge, which dates back for so long, if we can formalize the references, we can squeeze out the rice from the husk, the important thing for the modern world from the unimportant, and then codify it, then we have an edge over almost all the world civilizations in bringing out certain ideas as our own, rather than just being a copycat of the West. The Vedas are primordial source of knowledge in the scheme of IKS, and that is why we'll be taking the whole of next lecture on the Vedas itself. Normal methods used to date literature are grossly inadequate because, as I already pointed out, let's say you wrote in your book about an idea you had when you were a kid. Just because I saw your book today, can I say that, and seeing the date, can I say that you wrote this yesterday, so your idea belongs to yesterday? I can't say that, right? But that idea was from your childhood. But you can't encode that in a literary piece. By looking at a literary work and carbon dating of palm leaves and all, how can I say the wisdom of India is only 5,000 years old? If I have written 5,000 years old, don't you think it's little common sense that since 1,000 more years or 10,000 more years, the wisdom would have been coming orally, and when it literary forms were widespread, they encoded it literally? That little common sense was forgotten by the Western scholars. Hence, there is a clash in understanding the dates properly. So normal methods shouldn't be used, and hence some people, for example, there is an author called Dr. Vedavyas. He has written a book on astronomical dating of Mahabharata. Through the astronomical configurations that are spoken in the Mahabharata, he dates it to around 5,000 years back, which also agrees with some archaeological findings. But again, more concrete, more solid proofs are yet needed. And this is what I mean by normal methods are only helpful to a certain extent, but not to wide extent in understanding IKS, because IKS is coming from very olden times. IKS literature shows that a single work provides simultaneously the ideas on three streams: spiritual, religious, and material, which I have already spoken about. These are some review questions which I would like you to work on. Maybe in next class I will ask you to, 3 of you or 4 of you, I don't know whom, I'll ask you to submit, or 10 of you. Who knows? So all of you should write it in your notes, okay? Take the questions down. First, what is the current status of IKS in India, and briefly explain the reasons. Like basically what it is, how are Indians introduced to this, who introduced it, etc. Also, you can write some history of it. Explain how the ancient knowledge helps a society with proper arguments. I have dealt with this in the starting slides. If you remember the fourfold utility and the define IKS and outline its broad classification scheme, which I have already given. Like I define IKS, I gave you the 3 words meanings and its broad classification scheme as to the whole tree that you saw, What do we mean by the term Chaturdasa Vidyasthanas? The 14 Vidyasthanas that we spoke about, the Vedas, Vedangas, Upanishad, Puranas, Mimamsa, etc. Explain various components in brief. Indian knowledge repository predates several Western works in different areas. Let us take this statement as hypothesis. Do you agree or disagree? Explain with proper supporting notes. Those who disagree can also explain with your own fundamental understanding and points. But I think most of you will agree based on, of course, the whole theme is that it is very vast and vast. These are some questions that you can answer. And yeah, that completes our module 1. So let us randomly ask some people.
Tejaswi, I have some questions.
Sir, please. Hi, sir. Namaste.
First of all, it was really nice to hear you after a long time and giving lectures. So it is really interesting to listen to you. And you have been such a good student in physics. And now you are teaching this IKS. So very nice. So I am really glad to see I think what we learned today mainly is about the our ancient knowledge system and the different books and the literatures and the scriptures. Because in general, we know few names here and there, but most of the names we do not know. And we confuse actually that where are the books, what is the date, and what are the particular books that we are going to study or we should study. So, so you have listed all of them in a very systematic manner. That is very good. Few of the things I have missed names here and there, like Ramayana. I didn't see there the name of Ramayana.
It should be there in Itihasas. I will check.
Okay. All right. Then Upanishads. The different Upanishads also, I think if you write down all the names of the Upanishads, that will be very nice.
In the next lecture, I will be giving the whole Vedas, Vedangas, and Upanishads. So would be my next two lectures.
And you are expert in Upanishads, so that will be really good. Third thing is Brahma Sutra. So Brahma Sutra also, if you can put it in the right place, that will be very good. And I think if you give the students one assignment, like suppose say making a table, it can be in the Excel file or it can be a tree structure. And in that tree structure, all these literatures and books will be, displayed in one particular page, in one particular file. Maybe it will be small and small so that people can enlarge it and see. So in one particular chart, all the names of different books, Vedas, Upanishads, all these Puranas, everything will be there, so that one can quickly revise and see that which belongs to what. So with the historical reference, the dates also. So that is what I was thinking, that if they can make it as an assignment, that will be very good in one Excel file, or it can be a tree structure, whatever it is. That will be very nice. And one more thing they can write is that other than whatever questions that you have given, like what is that they have learned, any specific thing that they have interested, or what is in general they have got after this lecture, what is that they have learned. So they can write, say, one page or whatever. But anyway, you have given different questions. Different questions you have given, that is perfectly fine. So But nice, in fact, it was really good to listen to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Yes, all students, please follow Nyogi sir's instructions. They are very interesting, actually. If you can make that Excel sheet, yes, I would be also very happy to see that. All of you should try to make a list of all the works in our Indian Knowledge System course domain, and including the dates. Some of the works I showed you in the list in the last slide, but you can go beyond that list and extend it to as much as your exploration goes. Take little time, but do make it.